Let's say good morning to Jon Morosi once again. We've already talked about some big names on the free agent market. There are some other names out there, maybe not super duper stars, but really good players that help teams. Jeimer Candelario was one of those guys that got dealt at the deadline and was a big help in the second half of the season. What's the next destination for him looking like?
A resurgent year for Jeimer. Not many guys are switch hitting third baseman with his pedigree around the major league. So as you would expect, the interest is strong. The Los Angeles Angels are interested. The Washington Nationals, who, as you mentioned, Maddie, had him to begin last year before the trade to the Cubs, they want him back, which is a really good indication of his value both on the field and in the clubhouse. I would also mention the Toronto Blue Jays, a team that's trying to get a little bit more left-handed and balanced, a little more contact in their lineup. You see Jeimer's splits this season a little better with the Nationals than he was with the Cubs, but I'm a big believer in him. He still has a lot of career left. Maddie, he was able to get to the big leagues pretty early. Of course, originally a Cub, then a Tiger, then the Nationals, then the Cubs again. Hitting free agency, I believe, at the perfect time. And those three teams are at near or at the top of the list there. Angels, Blue Jays, and I would say as well, the Nationals too, because of their connection with him before.
He made an immediate impact over there in Chicago. I know injuries, he fell off a little bit. I'm going to talk to you about somebody I like who's not on the free agent market, but on the trade market. Dylan Cease is a front-end starter. What's the possibilities he gets moved and to possibly who?
Jake, I think the White Sox are open for business, my friend, and certainly you arrived at the White Sox via trade, and certainly now for the White Sox, it's going to be a lot of names that we know going out. We saw that last week with Aaron Bummer, and now Dylan Cease is available. Chris Getz listening on virtually every player on the White Sox roster, and our colleague Bob Nightingale reported recently the Dodgers among the teams with interest in Dylan Cease. And for me, Dylan Cease is one of the guys that we could see him move even apart from the very robust free agent class of starting pitchers, because there is the control element for him in terms of years that you would have him. And he is one of those ace pitchers that I believe would be a difference maker for a club. You see it there, what he did in 2023. Maybe not an all-star level year for him this past year, but with the White Sox this season, Jake, they were so up and down, so inconsistent. It's really hard to judge him, I think, based on that season. The key thing for me is the innings pitched. When you in this era of the game go back-to-back years where you're getting above 175, that's a durability level that very few pitchers are able to equal at this point in time. So even if you draw a line between the 2022 season and the 2023 season, if your ERA settles in somewhere around the mid-threes and you're throwing 180 innings, that is a very valuable starter. And remember this too, Jake, with respect to the White Sox and Dodgers talking trades. Chris Getz comes at this from a player development standpoint. He spent a lot of time in Glendale, Arizona at the complex shared between the White Sox and the Dodgers. A lot of those extended spring games and Arizona Complex League games. Chris Getz knows the Dodgers players very well. They have a lot of good prospects where you could find common ground on a trade.
JP, it was only about a year ago that Jorge Soler signed a contract, a free agent contract with the Miami Marlins that included a player option for 2024. He is looking for something more than that player option. Where are the suitors coming from for the services of a 31-year-old home run hitter?
Yes, Matt, when you think about his player option, it was $9 million. He rejected it. The Marlins did not extend the qualifying offer, which was around $20 million. So if you split the difference there, perhaps he's about a $15 million a year player, just using some rough goalposts there. And I love what he brings to your ball club in terms of the power. Shohei Ohtani certainly has the most home runs of any free agent. Jorge Soler is number 2. Now, a team that I think will look for some power, how about the reigning National League champions in Arizona? That's a spot of their lineup where they get some more power. I would love to see Jorge Soler in that ballpark in Phoenix. I think the power output, if he goes there, would be tremendous. You look at the Toronto Blue Jays, again, I mentioned them earlier with Jeimer. They're looking to add some serious offense. I would also mention this, a team that I expect to get a lot better in 2024. the Detroit Tigers. They may not be a club that's going to necessarily sign a full-time DH, which is basically what Jorge's role would be, but I would keep an eye on them in the market for bats. They've seen Torkelson take a step forward. Riley Green looks like a star. The Tigers are not that far away, Matt and Jake, from being a playoff team once again in the American League Central.
We love tapping into you for your vast knowledge of the international baseball landscape. There is no need for, as Harold refers to it, Loretta Stone, because you know the language of international baseball. And there's a certain Korean-born star who apparently is being close to posted for MLB. Who is that? And tell us about him.
Yes, Jung-hoo Lee, a star in Korea, expected to be posted here in the coming days. And he is someone, Matt, that I think has a lot of interest in the marketplace overall. The San Francisco Giants, New York Yankees first and foremost. You see his swing there, Matt and Jake. He wears 51 for a reason, and he idolizes Ichiro Suzuki. That is one of the really important traits that he's had, just that contact ability. He can play center field. He can play a corner as well. You love the youth there, 25 years of age. Missed a lot of time this year due to a fractured leg, but the expectation is he'll be back ready to go for next season. A name and a comp that I've heard on him, we mentioned the Diamondbacks a short time ago. I see some Ender Inciarte in his game. And Ender was a really good Gold Glove caliber all-star. Matty, he's one of my favorites. And by the way, Jung-hoo Lee has probably the best nickname in baseball. I want to make sure I make this point. Best nickname in baseball. His father, Jung-bom Lee, was a Korean baseball legend, and his nickname was the Son of the Wind, because he was so fast. So Jung-bom Lee, his father, Son of the Wind. Jung-hoo Lee, Grandson of the Wind. What a great nickname. The Grandson of the Wind.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
A star in Korean baseball. Yes, and again, Giants, Yankees, and other teams potentially would want to sign someone with who I believe has got the best nickname in the entire baseball galaxy.
Dude, you're gold. I mean, to comp a guy to Ender Inciarte, it's so inside baseball, it's unbelievable. You're the best, man. JP, thank you. Grandson of the Wind. The translation, it doesn't exactly sell tickets. I guess in Korean, like in the native language, it probably punches harder. But when you say, hey, his nickname is Grandson of the Wind, by the time you translate it, I think there's, it loses a little bit of the sizzle. JP, thanks. Great stuff today.
Thanks, guys.